Good evening. It sounds like you're all having a great time tonight, and I appreciate that. But we've got a little program we want to get started, and we're going to do a little program, and then dinner will be served, and then we'll resume our program. So anyway, thank you all for coming. What a great event, and how wonderful it is to be back together. I'm seeing people and meeting people for the first time that I've been talking to for the last 2 years over Zoom, and so it's great to see everybody in person. You know, it's been 3 years since we last had the annual dinner, and you know, there's been a lot going on, and we'll get to some of that here in just over the next few moments. But I want to officially and formally welcome you to the 114th annual dinner of the Ashland Chamber of Commerce. Tonight we're going to celebrate accomplishments and generous contributions of many of our members and the community. So I'm Gary Blake, and I am president of the Ashland Chamber Board of Directors. So, you know, it dawns on me that events just don't happen. People make them happen. And I'd like to recognize first the great Ashland Hills staff for the meal that you're about to partake of. I had the pleasure to serve on the Chamber Annual Dinner Committee, and I'd like to recognize committee members who put time into planning this event. So I wonder if, as your name is read, if you wouldn't mind standing. Catherine Greenspan. Serena Porty. Jordan Pease. Julie Gerwell. And Mary Gardner. And from Manzanita Home and Flowers, Luann David, thank you. All right. So we're also very grateful for our hard-working chamber staff. Been doing amazing these past few years, keeping things together and adapting to everything that's gone on. So I wonder, I'm hoping everybody is in the room and they're not out still working the hallways, but I want to introduce Dana Welsh, who is our operations manager, graphic design, and website administration. Dana Preston. She does membership and business development director. Catherine Cato, travel Ashland director. And of course, Sandra Slattery, executive director. We have several office volunteers that are with us in attendance tonight. I wonder if they wouldn't mind standing as I read their name. Joyce Epstein. Bob Horton. Kristen Horton. Barbara Keene. Catherine Lutz. Michael Pavlik. And Elaine Yates. And I neglected to mention one very important person who contributed greatly to the dinner tonight, and that is Maywin Richards. Our musicians this evening are from Ashland High School. And if I could have each one of you stand as I read your name. Lucas Bauer, Jasmine Long, Elijah Rhymes, James Dyson, and Annika Jarvis. All right, well, we have a fun evening planned and hope you enjoy your gift of chocolate at your place setting from the Chamber, which was generously sponsored donation from our newest chocolate company, Scharfenberger Chocolate Maker. And then finally, I want to thank sponsors Rogue Valley Metaphysical Library, Jordan Pease, and Recology Ashland for being sponsors tonight's event. So our theme this year is moving forward together. We believe this theme summarizes the essence of the Chamber. We're a collaborative organization that without all of you working together, side by side, every day, we could not do the amazing things we are able to achieve on behalf of this great community. Please take the annual dinner program home with you and visit our website for the video highlights and photos from this evening, as well as year-end accomplishments and look ahead. One of the special things we get to do at annual dinner each year is recognize those individuals who have contributed their time and talents to the Ashland community. Since we have not been able to meet since 2019, following dinner, we are going to recognize individuals who served through the challenging years of 2020 and 2021. Many of these represent hundreds of volunteers who serve on the numerous committees and task forces. In the meantime, we have some dignitaries we would like to introduce. I would first like to introduce, we've got several past presidents of the Chamber Board with us tonight, and I would like to introduce them. And as I read names, if you could stand and remain standing. And the other thing is, we're gonna probably get tired of all the clapping, so let's wait until all of them are standing, then we'll give them a nice big round of applause, okay? All right, so first, Dina Branson, who served from 2019 to 2021. Second, Mary Gardner, 2017 to 2019. Cindy Bernard, 2013 to 2015, and honorary life member. Maywin Richards, 2009, 2010, and honorary life member. Dana Welsh, 2002 and 2000 to 2004. Ann Seltzer, 1997, 1998. Bob Rasmussen, 1995, 1996. Jack Nichols, 1993, 1994, and honorary life member. Dennis Slattery, 1991 to 1993, and honorary life member. And Barbara Allen, 1987, 1988. Thank you. We have some other dignitaries that I'd like to recognize. Attending with us tonight is Oregon State Senator Jeff Golden. Oregon State Representative Pam Marsh. Our Police Chief, Ty O'Meara. Current city councilors in attendance tonight, Gina Duquesne, Tanya Graham, Steve Jensen, and Steph Seffinger. And a special thank you to Steve and Steph for their service as they are both retiring from council at the end of this year. Ashland Parks and Recreation Commissioner Mike Gardner, who served for a total of 18 years before stepping down earlier this year. We have some city leaders who are here this evening that we were unable to thank when they retired in 2020. Former Mayor John Stromberg, thank you for your service. John retired in 2020 and served our community for 12 years. Dennis Slattery, who served 8 years on the City Council, also retiring in 2020. I would now like to thank with a heartfelt appreciation my board, committee chairs, and volunteers, many of whom serve on numerous committee and task forces. And I'll begin by thanking the outgoing board members. So retired in 2020 and 2021, serving 2 consecutive terms, Sheila Clough is with Mercy Flights. Mary Gardner is past president. Maywin Richards, past president. And Larry Steiner from Edward Jones. And this year, I want to recognize retirement of Julie Gerwell with Hearsay Restaurant. Now we have some business to conduct tonight, and so we're going to go ahead and do the official installation of our new board of directors for 2022 and 2023. So if board members are here, if you could stand as your name is called, and again, hold the applause until we get through the group. First of all, Gary Blake, Recology Ashland, president for the 2nd year. Dina Branson, Branson's Chocolates, past president. Catherine Greenspan, New York Life Insurance and Two Sisters Writing and Publishing. Eric Hansen, True South Solar. And so as a reminder, I'm going to give the instructions again. Stand as your name is called, remain standing, and let's hold the applause until we get through everybody. Okay. Deborah Ingram, First Interstate Bank, retired. Eli Katkin, The Brick Room, Jordan Pease, Rogue Valley Metaphysical Library, Ann Robison, the Crown Jewel, Dr. Susan Walsh, SOU Provost, Eric Weisinger, Weisinger Family Winery, and Greg White, Reinhold and O'Hara Insurance. And in addition to that, we have ex officio members as well, so I'd like to also name them. SOU President Rick Bailey, School Superintendent Samuel Bogdanov, Dr. Stephen Hirsch with Asante Ashland Community Hospital, David Schmitz with Oregon Shakespeare Festival, Executive Director, Joe Lassard, City Manager, and Council Liaison Gina Duquesne. Okay, now we can applaud. And if I've got one request before we eat dinner, and that is if I could have all past presidents meet over by the front door for a photo before dinner is served, that would be great. For the rest of you, dinner will be served. We'll get back together in about 40 minutes or so. So, on a rather sober subject, since we last gathered, we've suffered some losses. So please join me in a moment of silence as we recognize a few of those losses. Graham Lewis, his beloved chamber member, photographer, very active in greeters. Rob Werfel, active in greeters and is an ambassador and is a volunteer. Mary Maston was an office volunteer for decades. Bonnie Oliver, longtime booth and event volunteer. And then we had the fire, the Alameda fire, in which so many people lost their homes, their businesses, their livelihoods, and of course COVID. We want to remember our frontline workers, those who contracted the disease and ultimately those who succumbed to the disease. So if you would join with me just for a moment of silence to reflect on that, I would appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. So, with our theme of moving forward together, collaboration is important. The Chamber deeply values our relationships with community leaders. As the current president of the Chamber Board, I can tell you our small businesses benefit by the partnership as we work together. We recognized each of the key organizational leaders are new to Ashland since our last annual dinner, and many of you may have not had a chance to meet them. They all serve as members of the Ashland Coalition. The Ashland Coalition is a committee of the Chamber that meets monthly. It was started in 1992, so 30 years ago, by then Chamber President Dennis Slattery. And it was convened in order to get the community leaders to work together on common issues affecting Ashland and to collaborate wherever possible. So I've asked each of them to share very briefly why they value the collaboration and why they think it's good for Ashland. So we'll start with Dr. Stephen Hirsch from Asante Ashland Community Hospital.
Thank you, Gary. Thanks, Sandra. It's good to see everybody. It's good to be here in person, isn't it? You remember the beginning of COVID? Amongst other challenges, we in this area across the country, we experienced widespread shortages of protective equipment. And at the time, Ashland was able to partner with a couple of companies locally, with BioSkin in Ashland and with Talent Makerspace, to produce badly needed supplies at a very desperate time. And we are very grateful for that partnership. Also during COVID, once treatments began to be available, Asante stood up one of the first monoclonal antibody clinics in the state, which served close to 1,000 people. And this was supported by you, by our community, via the Asante Foundation. Later, Asante stood up a drive-through monoclonal antibody treatment clinic in Medford, the second such site in the nation. And we're very proud of all of the affiliations and partnerships that helped us do those sorts of things. Asante has also partnered with various companies and businesses through the foundation to help provide COVID testing and guidance, which I think has been very positive for the community. COVID, as you know, exposed workforce challenges through the community and particularly in the healthcare system. Asante is proud to be partnering with OHSU on a grant to provide additional support in the form of instructors and mentors for the OHSU nursing program that's housed at SOU. And we continue to look forward and look to OHSU and the SOU nursing program and other programs in Southern Oregon to train the next generation of caregivers. There's somebody at our table tonight who's in one of those programs, and it's just wonderful to meet people like that. These are well-paying jobs that support the economy of Southern Oregon. Asante continues to partner with the Ashland school system on the school nurse program, and we support the school's Monster Dash, which is coming up, I think, next weekend. We're partnering with Ollie this month on a series of health talks for the community. Internally, Asante has continued to develop programs at Ashland despite the challenges of these times. We've started a breast surgery program. Our urologist from Medford will start doing procedures at Ashland Hospital next month. And in January, we'll bring gynecology services back to Ashland to provide women's health care services. We offer advanced knee and shoulder reconstructive procedures. We've recruited 2 more hospitalists to Ashland and a 3rd family practice specialist with obstetrics credentials to help support the Family Birth Center, again, to serve this wonderful community. And I need to say, when we are recruiting and working with people applying for jobs, how wonderful it is to be able to talk about this community and talk about the quality of life we have here and the business partnerships that everybody here helps support. That really makes it a little bit easier for us to recruit people. Through the pandemic, we've all become good at Zoom, right? And many of us have used telehealth. At Ashland, we're leveraging that technology to bring additional services to the hospital. Infectious diseases, intensive care medicine, neurology and psychiatry are all available at Ashland Hospital, and we're working to add additional specialists to support our inpatients. We're very proud of the team of the people at Asante Health System who have worked together to earn, for the 10th year in a row, recognition as a top 15 health system through the country. Thanks. These last few years have brought unprecedented challenges, and despite this, Asante continues with our mission to provide quality healthcare services in a compassionate manner, valued by our communities. We continue to make strong partnerships, to do great work, and to move forward together, and we thank you all for your support and look forward to working together. Thank you. Thanks, Gary.
Next, I would like to ask Samuel Bogdanov, our Ashland Schools Superintendent to come up and just say a few words.
Just real quick before we get started, do we have any Bellevue Bobcats in the house? Hellman Dragons? Walker Wolves? Ashland Grizzlies? All right. Well, I'm happy to speak here tonight. I want to communicate a few things. I wanted one to just to let you know how I ended up coming to Ashland. Back in 2001, I better not lean on this because it has wheels on it. Back in 2001, I was director of a state special school in New Mexico, and my wife had family in Oregon, and we really wanted to get closer and be able to connect with family, but what we didn't know was where in Oregon. You know, we had my two kids at that time, I think we're 7 and 2, so we did a lot of research, and we wanted something that really checked all of the boxes. And it was Ashland. It had access to a bike path. It had a judokan back in talent, back in the days when I actually had some disc between my vertebrae. It had an amazing 96-acre park with ducks, and I mean the real ducks, not the quacks. That was a dad joke. I mentioned I was a dad. Had a really cool science, hands-on science museum, had a university, and most importantly for us, as a young family, it had excellent schools. So for both of us as educators, the schools were really what made the difference. So I found a job posting within the school district. I got the interview, I got on a plane, did the interview, and I ended up getting the job. And so that August, we actually drove all the way from New Mexico through deserts and over hills and mountains and ranges. And we finally landed on terra firma in Ashland just a few weeks before 9/11. So I figured everything after that was going to be easy peasy. Ashland was then and is now a destination district for families and for staff. The last 2 years of COVID have been challenging for everyone, and I think especially for our kids who've experienced so much disruption in their lives. We've seen it, the impacts in their behavior, we've seen the impacts in their mental health needs, and we've seen the impact in achievement lost. During COVID, public school enrollment dropped throughout the state of Oregon, I think roughly 30,000 students. And Ashland felt that impact on top of restrictions for interdistrict transfers. I am happy to share that this year we are seeing those numbers rising, and we're looking at what we hope is the beginning of a little bounce back from what occurred during COVID with that. I want to talk just a little bit about academics without getting too deep into it. Folks have probably been reading the newspaper and they've heard that statewide, and this is not surprising, Oregon State test results last year were really pretty bad. And I think that speaks a lot to the experiences that our kids had during those 2 years. What I am happy to share is that we're seeing a pretty significant increase in our local testing in grades K through 8 this past year. So that's really encouraging, and I think it speaks to the impact of in-person learning for kids. All right. So while the challenges of the impact on our kids, the pandemic and our, excuse me, while the challenges of the impact of the pandemic on our kids and staff remain, I do believe that we are at turning a tide. With each lesson, each field trip, each lunch period, each renewed tradition, the excitement and the gratitude of learning together grows. Whether it's from kindergarten story time or up to calculus, every classroom, you can feel it. Through the pandemic, I want to talk a little bit about what's been going on with our construction. Through the pandemic, you know, the bond projects, amidst the challenges with supply chain and the challenges with vendors, have kind of forged on. This year, our middle school students were able to start their very first day in school in an amazing new campus with incredible learning spaces for kids. It really is a gift from the voters of Ashland, and it'll serve our students for generations to come. Our trail students will start the new facility at their new facility in November, and we'll have open houses at both AMS and Trails to invite the community to see their gifts to our kids. Walker is on track for opening in April, barring any unforeseen supply chain issues, so we're pretty excited about that. I also want to share a little bit about what we're doing to get back in touch with teaching and learning, because we aren't having to do quite so much virus management. Our professional development work on equity hit a real benchmark this year, this fall really, as we are the first district, to my knowledge, in Oregon to have achieved greater than 99% of our staff trained, from bus drivers to secretaries, nutrition services folks to principals, trained in the foundations of equity. Using an equity lens to assure comparable outcomes for all of our learners is a core job of educators. Every kid should have what they need to succeed. This work is really just a first step. Understanding equity issues in education is the foundation of our 4-year professional development plan, centered on strategies that personalize learning for all of our kids, which is really one of the benchmark pieces of Ashland schools, to give each kid that opportunity to excel. I don't want to get all geeky on the educational jargon of it, but I am incredibly excited by it and the work that we're doing with our teachers. I'm also excited by our partnerships. The district is working in partnership with SOU and the City of Ashland on some common interests, starting with a focus on equity and diversity and building a community that is welcoming and inclusive, as well as our emergency preparedness. We've also identified some additional interests that I'm not quite ready to share yet, but there will be more to come on that. I believe that together we can continue to grow as an inclusive and thriving community for families. Our schools are central to that aspect. We've just scratched the surface of that work, and I look forward to seeing what we can accomplish together. Lastly, to this room, I just want to say that I'm so grateful to be part of a community that values our kids, from the YAAL and what it does for our activities and athletics and opportunities for the kids, to the bond that has created some incredible learning spaces that I hope to have you come and check out soon, and for the breadth of partnership and the knowledge that everybody in our community has that kids are our future. So to all of you in this room, I want to just take this opportunity to thank you for your support for the schools and for our kids, and mahalo plenty. So.
Next, I would like to invite David Schmitz, Oregon Shakespeare Festival Executive Director.
I promise, you won't be sitting for too long. Hey everybody, my name's David Schmitz. I'm the Executive Director at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. To get started, I have a voting exercise for you. I wrote 2 speeches, speech right and speech left. You get to choose. Who wants to hear the right one? Okay, who wants to hear the left one? Oh boy, you're in for it, okay. So like I said, David Schmitz, I'm the Executive Director at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. It is hard to believe. I've been in Ashland since August of 2020. I should have overseen 3 season closings of the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, and I just saw my first one last week of the outdoor season, and we have, of course, 1 more week. So if you haven't seen 3 shows still running, Confederates, Once on This Island, and King John, they are fantastic. Confederates is the hit of the season, so I'm not going to say you shouldn't see that one, but you should. And you should also see the other 2. So please come and be a part. I will say I did think a lot about what I wanted to say tonight. I wrote 2 speeches because I couldn't actually decide which direction I wanted to go. But you chose, so here we go. This is your choice. As many of you may know, in late September, Ashland was featured in a national press piece for the 4th time in 3 years in a less than flattering way. The piece was not originally intended to be about Ashland, but about our artistic director, Nataki Garrett, and the work that she is doing and we are doing to revitalize the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. During the reporter's visit, he couldn't help but notice the security presence that was shadowing wherever Nataki was, and he wanted to know what's up. Well, what's up is not a huge secret, but it may be something that you're not aware of, which is that Nataki hasn't actually been out in public without a security presence for most of 2022 because she experienced a death threat in our community. The result of the piece was national attention, mostly around what it means to be a Black woman artistic director under threat. We have been immensely grateful to many in the community, from people in Ashland to folks in the region and nationally, who have expressed their support for Nataki and for OSF. Thank you if you are among that group. And if you're wanting to learn more, because this is the first time you've heard about it, I encourage you to go to our website. On the main page, there is a tile called Learn More About Nataki Garrett, and you can learn more about what happened. There have been many questions about the nature of the threat and what happened, and for the personal security of Nataki, of course, I can't go into that. We have recently had a very productive meeting with Chief O'Mara, and we're looking forward to working closely with Ashland PD on this issue. What I do want to tell you is that if we want this community to thrive in 2025 and 2030 and 2035, as a business community, we must interrupt. We must actively work to create safety for Black, Indigenous, and people of color in our community. We must educate our workforce. Thank you. We've got to educate our workforce. We must not accept this as something in Nataki's imagination or something that isn't real because it's not your personal experience of what it is to live in this community. People have asked me what they can do about this, and the answer is both simple and complex. You can start by believing the Black, Indigenous, and people of color in this community when they tell you what it is like to live in this community. You can take the personal time to deeply learn as much as you can about race as a construct and a system, with the objective of working to dismantle that in your businesses. You can stop denying the experiences of others because they're not yours. You can hold people to account. You can interrupt when you hear people saying something ignorant or somebody denying someone else's experience. You can pressure our city to take the issue on fully, bravely, and without legalities and red tape. You can approach hiring with the intent and be thoughtful about the message you send with the people you hire. There's a ton you can do, but this is a 400-year-old system, and it's not going to be dismantled in a week. This is not a to-do list, checklist, let's check off some boxes. It's going to take sustained effort from everyone in this room. If you really want to support Nataki and the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, come to see the plays. Honestly, that is the number one thing you can do. Come to see the plays. And do the work in your own organization to create spaces of actual inclusion and belonging. That's not a check the to-do list kind of commitment, but an ongoing commitment to centering the most marginalized among us and making your workspace actually inclusive for Black, Indigenous, and people of color. That's how we move this city and our business community forward. Thank you.
Thank you, David, and thank you for that chair. That's going to come in handy. Next, I want to invite Joe Lessard, Ashland City Manager.
I'm glad you didn't applaud too much because I haven't done anything yet. I'm supposed to, according to Sandra, I'm supposed to do two things, and I had to write them down as a bureaucrat. I had to write them down to make sure I covered them this evening. The first thing is to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Joe Lessard. We're halfway through my 3 minutes. The second part is a audience participation, please. I'd like you right now, just to, don't look at me, look at the person on your right for 5 seconds. I will count them off. Really take in the person on your right for 5 seconds. Oh, you're a rowdy group. All right, now, look to your left and look at that person for 5 seconds. Okay, that's enough of that. Now, you're probably wondering why we did that exercise. I remember when I was in high school, I had a speech class, and we had this exercise where we were supposed to look at our fellow students. And you know, I realized I had never really looked at my fellow students. I had an impression, but when you actually looked at somebody in the face, you got a whole different idea of who someone was. So the reason for looking to the right and to the left is I want you to understand that the people to your right and to your left are your collaborators. In a democracy, everybody is a collaborator. And I know at times it doesn't feel that way, but the people that are coming up here today and I have been having conversations over the last 11 months that I've been here, learning about each other and learning how to collaborate. But what is important about collaboration is a sense of trust. So I'm not going to give you a list of the things we've accomplished, because we have a whole lot of things to accomplish as a community. And I think we kind of all have a sense of what those are. But I think the most important thing I want to mention is that trust is the basis of collaboration. We can't get anywhere without a sense of trust. And so I know I can't do my job without a sense of trust. I actively try to build a sense of trust with council members and with the community members that I interact with. And I think that's an ongoing effort, particularly in these tough times. The other thing that is important about collaboration is we've just come through a pandemic. I mean, the last time that happened was in the early part of the last century. And we've just gone through something that is phenomenal. But it occurs to me that just like an earthquake where there are other tremors that come later, or like a flood, there's the incoming tide will catch you unprepared, because there's always a second wave. And I think we have to understand that while the pandemic may not have a second wave, or we may survive it better than with the things that have happened in our medical institutions and our networks, there are other waves coming. They're called climate change. They're called economic disruption. Think of the things that have happened to us as a nation just since the year 2000. Remember 2000, Y2K, that was supposed to be like this huge event. It was sort of a non-event. But what happened in 2008 is we had an economic disruption that almost collapsed our economic system. And now we have a pandemic, and we have economic disruption, and we have things happening around the world. So I think we have to be prepared for the next wave, whatever it is. It's the collaboration that's going to get us through it. So I invite you to tune in to all the council meetings, and I invite you to participate in the collaboration, which I think in some ways, because of the gentlemen that are speaking here with you this evening, are just beginning to explore what collaboration would mean between our institutions in a new and fresh way. So to me, that tells you my thoughts about collaboration, and then also I hope it gives you a sense of who Joe Lessard is. So thank you very much. Good evening.
Thank you, Joe. And then next we'll hear from Dr. Rick Bailey, SOU President.
Good evening, everybody. So let me start with an apology. I thought very deeply about what I would say here tonight, and so I have about an hour's worth of prepared remarks, but Gary told me that I have to limit it to 45 minutes, so I apologize. I took the best 15 minutes out, so I apologize. Hey, yes, I'll do 40. All of us at SOU are really thrilled to be here tonight. Thank you so much for making room for us to be a part of this discussion. Very briefly, I'll say this, and you've probably heard me say this. Public higher education in this country is at a crossroads. And it is usually people in my position who say, oh, the challenges are super great, and this is a really difficult time. It is not an embellishment for me to say the challenges that we face in public higher education are larger than we've ever faced in our 150-year history. This year, 150 years. However, yeah, let's not cheer for the challenges part. But thank you. But thank you for recognizing the. However, here's the good part. And this is also not an embellishment. Over the last 9 months, I've had the privilege to work with some amazing people. And so the students, the faculty, and the staff with whom I interact with every day give me hope that no matter how big the challenges are, there is nothing we cannot face when we do it together. Yeah. The institutions, the universities, the colleges who thrive moving forward will have three things in common. We will be institutions who are most nimble, who are most creative, and who are most collaborative. It's almost like Gary kind of teed this up, moving forward together. It's the third word, the together piece. I will pledge to all of you right now that every good thing that we do at SOU moving forward will involve a partnership with someone else. Every single good thing that we do will involve a partnership. So, by the way, if I have not met you tonight, before we leave tonight, please make sure that we do. Because we're in. Whatever it is, whatever idea you have, we're in. I'll finish with this. Show of hands, I can't help it because I'm an educator. Show of hands, how many people have heard of a person named Alexis de Tocqueville? Of those hands, how many people are totally lying right now? Okay, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So for those who don't know, Alexis de Tocqueville was a Frenchman who came to the United States in the 1830s, and he wanted to write a story about the United States prison systems. And once he got here and he started doing his research, he started looking at this very fledgling 60-year-old republic and said, this is a really interesting form of government, and completely expanded his work. It led to a book called Democracy in America, written in 1835, I think. And it is not only the best work, generally regarded as the best work about the United States from an outside perspective, but the best work about any country from someone outside that country. That's how seminal that work is. I have a point to this. De Tocqueville said that the strength of the American democracy rests on the willingness of its people to come together and gather. My wife and I have been to all 50 states. Because of the Air Force, we've been to 40 countries. We've lived all over the world. I have never lived in a place where people are so intentional about coming together as Southern Oregon, ever, anywhere in the world. Chambers of Commerce. There are 10 Rotary clubs just in the valley here. It's crazy. It's crazy in a beautiful way. But I will tell you this, as someone who has committed most of my adult life to wearing a uniform that symbolized my willingness to put everything I love at risk for this democracy, I know now, 9 months in, that I am exactly where I am supposed to be. And I'm home, and I want to live the rest of my life here. And it's people like AJ who make that work. So thank you, AJ. On behalf of all of us at Southern Oregon University, our students, our faculty, our staff, our board, our community partners, everyone, we just want to say thank you for what, first of all, thank you to Sandra. Thank you to the amazing staff. Thank you to the board of the chamber. Thank you to all the chamber members. We're grateful for everything you do for our students, grateful for everything you do for our university, grateful for everything you do for our community. We are happy and honored to be a part of this amazing family. Thanks very much, everyone.
Well, thank you. Thank you for those words, and I've got a lot of optimism about the future when I think about getting minds together and collaborating with the different institutions that we have here in Ashland. So pivot, retool, innovate, collaborate, embrace change. No matter how you slice it, we all had to do it. And as a chamber, have found efficiencies and strength as we continue transforming our work and redefining our mission. When the pandemic first hit in March of 2020, the chamber immediately reached out to our partners and businesses, forming working groups such as the Ashland Economic Recovery Team to advocate for resources and programs for small business and to immediately share them broadly. The Gating Committee to share ever-changing regulations and health concerns from COVID. We created the summer celebration with outdoor dining and gathering spaces downtown after consulting with our members and city collaboration. We became official technical assistance providers for state resources, such as the distributions of tens of thousands of free PPE, that's personal protection equipment. We wrote and received local, regional, and state grants to expand programs to help our small businesses and evaluate changes in the economy, such as the video series, The Language of Business on Financial Literacy. Travel Ashland commissioned a deep visitor analysis, rebranded and launched an entirely new marketing strategy and brand platform. With climate change, fires and smoke affected our community. Our Emergency Preparedness Committee created videos, toolkits, and materials to help our businesses and community prepare and respond. Our office volunteers stepped up and provided front desk coverage. Flower baskets continued to beautify and grace the downtown. Greeters continued to meet via Zoom for nearly 100 Fridays. Greeters are now back in person, along with ribbon cuttings. Through a grant from Soretti, we conducted a thorough study of the economy in order to diversify and strengthen the community through the development of new pillars, action steps, and direction for 2023 and beyond. Our legislative committee conducted Zoom conference calls with our state officials and recently filmed candidate forums shown on our website and RVTV. When 2022 arrived, we realized we could bring back some of our beloved community events and programs. The staff really stepped up to bring back the 4th of July, particularly Dana Preston, Dana Walsh, and Catherine Cato. With tremendous support from Maywin Richards and Officer Steve McLennan, the parade with Daniel Perry and Jacob Hillman Whalen, music at the band shell. Now, we are bringing back the Children's Halloween Parade and the Festival of Lights, complete with lighting and decorating the town, Santa's arrival with all his friends, and promoting the holidays in Ashland far and wide. So now I'm happy to be at the part of our program to begin the awards portion of our program. And we have several awards. We met as a committee, and one of the things that we toiled with was a traditional Small Business of the Year award. And the reason we toiled with it is because how do you pick one? If you look at what we've been through the last 3 years since we last met, how do you choose one? And we decided we wouldn't. So we are going to recognize all the small businesses who survived. We had people who bought the business right before COVID and managed to come through that. We had businesses that began in the midst of COVID and have emerged with success and prosperity and with great outlook. So this year, it's the Small Businesses of the Year. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask Dana Preston to come forward for our first award, Greeter of the Year.
Okay, hello everyone. It's brighter in here than I expected. And we've got quite a rowdy greeters crowd in here. And I just want to say a quick note from when Gary was talking earlier and when he politely asked everyone not to clap, and there was some clapping that happened anyways, but if you looked around the room and you saw a whole bunch of people doing this, that's what we do at Greeters instead. So thank you to everyone here. So I want to give a little brief update about our incredible Greeters group and what it's been like for the past a couple of years before we get to the award section. So if you've never attended, please join us. Feel the energy that you feel from this group every Friday morning at 8:15. It's wonderful. Dozens of members come together, share updates about their business, build professional development, but if it's not incredibly clear here, also building very, very close personal friendships as well. As we navigated the pandemic and went from being this group that really thrived on being together and having that one-on-one connection and trying to figure out how to do it, we hunkered down on Zoom for, as Gary mentioned, about 100 meetings, right, Jordan? About 100 meetings? 99 meetings. Oh, alas. So we really came together in a way that was very meaningful. And sometimes when our group needed it the most. We met on Zoom the week of the Alameda fire. We didn't know necessarily that we would meet then, but we did. And we certainly didn't talk about business that day. We had members of our group who lost their homes. We had members of our groups who had near misses. And really what that group came together that day was talk and listen and hear how we could help one another. We also lost a few members of our greeters group over the past 18 months, and it became evident at this time how much that group has really come together beyond building those professional relationships, but also as a family as we navigated those losses. So it's really hard to think about, individually naming a person as a greeter of the year, but we're going to get there. 1 second. We are, because there are so many incredible people who have been a part of this greeters community over the past 2 years. And I just want to thank a couple of people before we get to the award recipients. I do want to thank Brian Tingle, who has been our greeters co-chair as he became greeters co-chair right before COVID started, so he's stuck along with us as we've gone in and out of Zoom, and then in person, and Zoom, and in person, so thank you. There were also several people who stepped in to help fill in and help Brian along the way. Barbara Chicarico, Annie Hoy, Bunny Lewis, so many others, Daniel Perry, the list goes on and on of people who stepped in to help in that role. So Thank you. Tonight, I do want to announce that we do have someone who's stepping in to serve alongside Brian as the greeter co-chair, starting her first of 2-year term next Friday, and that's Catherine Greenspan. She'll be our, I don't know. Okay, all right. You guys, thank you, Catherine, for stepping into that leadership role. Can I please get to the award now? Thank you. So, our greeter of the year is the true epitome of someone who looks around the room or the Zoom screen, contemplative, semi-quiet, and wonders, how can I help this person's business or organization thrive? How do I help connect them to the right resource? How can I provide them a platform or a voice to share what they have with the community? How can I volunteer my time, offer my support, or help this person meet their goals? He also has a lot of great ideas. He's also someone who never says, I have a good idea for you to go and do. He says, I have a great idea, and if you love it, how can we help make it happen? There are a lot of things that this person does behind the scenes that he doesn't necessarily want recognition for, so we'll just leave it at that. And while he is busy helping all of these people, he's also running his own organization, an organization founded in Ashland in 2002 with a mission that provides easy access to information that inspires, heals, and connects. It has an exceptional collection of books, audiobooks, DVDs to expand awareness about information that's not commonly available just anywhere. My personal favorite find was a gift that was regifted to me about Oregon's haunted history. Tonight, we recognize with deep gratitude on behalf of the Chamber community and countless greeters members, the person who makes metaphysical mainstream for all of us, Jordan Pease.
Wow, people, thank you. Did not see that coming.
I did.
Nikki Clifton. What a tremendous honor to be such a part of this great community and serve it in the way that the Brent Physical Library does. And yes, it has been 20 years, making metaphysics mainstream. I never thought that would be said from this stage. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And what a terrific theme, all those people that spoke here on the stage, this idea of building community. This is what the Metaphysical Library is about, and I applaud everybody that made that a theme in their remarks tonight. So beautiful community, beautiful people here that make it that way. Thank you, everybody. Such an honor. Such an honor.
All right. Next, I would like to ask Catherine Cato to come forward, and we will present Visitor Industry Leader.
Thank you, Gary. The podium is on wheels, don't forget that. There you go. This is the first individual to be recognized with this newly titled award, though we've honored many previous chairs of Travel Ashland since our inception in 1982. These leaders have volunteered great amounts of time in furthering the reach of tourism, promotion, and marketing through the Chamber and Travel Ashland. They've served as leaders in our hospitality industry, from lodging, dining, attractions, and services. And our work has greatly benefited from their expertise. In the case of our recipient this evening, he has gone above and beyond ever since he moved to Ashland and got involved with us. 16 years he's given and worked hand in hand with us on developing our tourism marketing. He's participated with every effort to garner more helpful research with the commissioned research on smoke impacts on travel that we did in the past, to the recent in-depth visitor analysis, to Travel Ashland rebrand in 2012, and our latest rebrand in January of 2022. And we did that rebrand the latest rebrand with Dina DeRose and Sam Berliner of Intently Collaborative, who we have here tonight in the room. He served on the steering committee for the Chamber's most recent large economic diversification study. He'll continue to serve on that committee as well as chair of an important Downtown Pillar Action Task Force. He always said yes when asked to collaborate in hosting industry and travel writers, and with his team, foster the return and growth of group travel and weddings. He is a leader in growth of his properties, expansion, community collaboration, and successful convention center here in Ashland. He served on the Travel Ashland Committee on the Chamber Board, and we are proud of his service as an Oregon Tourism Commissioner for Travel Oregon for the past 8 years, representing Southern Oregon. And he was there on that fateful day at the farmer's market at a pie baking competition when he said, maybe we should have a chef competition. That idea turned into a 14-year span of a destination event that produced 4 Iron Chef Oregon winners from Ashland. Recognize the talent and creativity of our mixologists, our chefs, our junior chefs, our restaurateurs, our food artisans, and our amazing wineries, and help to put Ashland on the map for our culinary and wine offerings. It takes people to make things work here in Ashland, people who show up and make a difference. The Tourism Industry Leader of the award goes to Dawn Anway.
I'm honored to be able to receive this award tonight. I just want to take a moment. 16 years ago when I came into the community, we live outside of Ashland, but it's just amazing to see the opportunities that this community has. And with the Newmans being able to open 2 additional hotels, I would have never thought, but it has been amazing to watch the community support the efforts of the Newmans and our wonderful team. And each of us are successful at the Newman Hotel Group because of our community, but also because of the wonderful employees that we have. And I truly am honored to work with each of them each day, and I'm grateful for this award. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have Sandra Slattery joining us here to announce the Volunteer of the Year award, and then she has a special recognition beyond that she'd like to do.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. One of the really great things that came out of some pretty tough times through the pandemic are the people, and that seems to be a common theme. All of you who've stepped up to help however you could. And one of the things our volunteers did is they had to work through, as you did, all the new restrictions. Our volunteers who said, yes, I'll come back, I'll help cover the front desk, greet visitors, business owners, and residents, and they were truly amazing. After having to close the office to the public on March 20th, 2020, we were thrilled to be able to open back up in June, just as soon as we could safely do it with all the precautions. We were the only chamber in Southern Oregon to do this. And one of the very few offices who actually answered their phones with a real person instead of a recording. And that might seem like a small thing now, but I can tell you the appreciation we received from people was really sincere. And it still is. The public appreciates what we all appreciate, personal contact. And of course, like everyone, we were masked and outfitted with protective equipment and shields and all those things that we had to do. And our volunteers, boy, they had to answer numerous questions from the public and deal with some sometimes challenging situations. But they did so, as they always do, with grace and kindness and the most helpful assistance they can offer. Those volunteers who are in attendance this evening were announced previously, but our staff really want you to know that we offer you our deep appreciation. We would like to recognize this year one of those volunteers who not only served the public through the front desk, but she also helped us organize materials and brochures and supplies. And boy, she's a good organizer and does love a project. She, like many of you, moved to Ashland and immediately got involved in the community, wanting to engage with others, make new friends, and help out wherever she could. She joined the chamber as one of our office volunteers right after moving here in 2016. Her successful previous career in office management, combined with her always professional demeanor, intelligence, and humor, has been an incredible asset to us. We all love working with her and are pleased to be recognizing this year Elaine Yates as our Volunteer of the Year. There you are, Elaine, come on up. There we are. And she's humble. Could Dana Preston and Catherine Cato please join me up here? We have a special recognition.
Oh.
Well, we have a special recognition, and the person that we are recognizing had to leave. But I'm still going to tell you about her because it will be on record. And
It's okay.
she had some health issues that had her have to leave. And I know she would have been not particularly happy to be called up here because she too is quite humble. And I really don't know, I was thinking the other day, the first time I've met her, because it's so long ago, but she's always been a part of our lives at the Chamber. She worked in her family business, which was Artisan Press. I know many of you did business with her, as we did. We had a president of the Chamber, some of you will remember Lois Winker, who asked her to step up and joined the 4th of July committee, and before she knew it, she was chairing the parade. Then she was chairing the committee. And she then was asked to serve on the board, served on the board, and then she became president and was a wonderful leader. As she stepped down from her presidency and then her business, she decided to do something different. And I said, come work for the Chamber. So 18 years ago, she started in the Chamber. She has been a wonderful, dear friend to all of us. She's going to be retiring in a few months. And we all love her and wanted to be able to recognize her. So it will be on record. And I know that you will all join me in giving her a round of applause for an amazing amount of dedication to this organization. And we have actually a beautiful vase that was made by the Seffingers to give her, that we will give her later. So Dana Welsh, in case you didn't know. So thank you all very much.
Okay. I have the honor of presenting the next category. The next category is Sustainable Business of the Year. The Chamber began a few years ago recognizing the importance of sustainability in businesses and how they are impacting our climate and economy. This year, we decided it was very appropriate to honor this innovation, and in particular, a company that is growing by leaps and bounds and working with local companies. Jeff Sharp is the founder and CEO of Stracker Solar, an Ashland-based solar manufacturer and installer firm. He has been a professional engineer and the founder-owner of various successful businesses for the past 35 years. Jeff moved to Ashland with his family in 2004, impressed with the riding trails, skiing, backpacking, and cultural opportunities the area offered. He saw a strong potential for new sustainable energy and founded Sharp Energy Solutions, which became a prime contractor for the Oregon Department of Energy, doing school energy efficiency projects. He wanted to design a large and robust solar tracker that accommodates more panels, generates more energy, and as such, is more appropriate for commercial solar installations. Stracker Incorporated was formed on January 2017, bringing together a great team of young engineers partnering with Oak Street Tank and Steel, who had been manufacturing metal products for over 100 years in Ashland and is our oldest Ashland business and longest chamber member. Within 4 months, they had the first Stracker prototype built, sold, installed, and producing clean solar power for Oak Street Tank and Steel. Stracker Solar's unique elevated solar tracking system recently installed 5 elevated Strackers, providing clean energy and nighttime illumination for TC Chevy in Ashland, making the successful business the first solar-powered auto dealership in Southern Oregon. Owner Derek DeBoer says they embraced EV technology very early on, and powering their car chargers with solar energy feels like the right next step. Stracker Solar has expanded their team and moved into beautiful new offices at 645 A Street as they now prepare a national expansion program. Former Sustainable Business of the Year recipient Eric Hansen of True South Solar said this about Stracker Solar and Jeff. The coolest thing about Jeff's engineering is that it is opening up new commercial markets, and it really produces a lot more energy than rooftop solar. Another innovative thing is that it is UL listed, the first I know of. His message and his vision is really tracking. I truly wish him the best of luck and expect big things will happen for him. Stracker Solar announced yesterday that the Oregon Department of Energy has awarded $940,000 in funds as part of the Community Renewable Energy Grant Program for an energy resilience project they designed for the city of Ashland. The proposed solar plus battery project will be built at the City Service Center where the police and electric departments, as well as city vehicle fueling and charging stations, are located in order to support continued operations of essential services, as well as continued fueling of city vehicles, which include ambulance and fire trucks, in the event of power grid failures. Congratulations to Jeff Sharp and Stracker Solar. Doesn't look like maybe Jeff is here. Oh, there he is. Excellent. Come on up, Jeff.
Thank you. I'm honored, totally caught off guard, but I'm really excited to work with SOU, with our school district, with our citizens, and with the city to start this great transition from fossil fuel to wind and solar power. Glad to be with you all. Thank you.
Okay, so next, I'll invite Dennis Slattery to come forward for Citizen of the Year.
I see your 45 minutes, and I'm going to raise you 45 minutes. Good evening, everybody. It's wonderful to see you. What a great thing. We are just blessed. I would like to let people know, just to get some enthusiasm out there for me, I am a friend of Catherine Greenspan. Thank you very much. I'm going off script, and Sandra's heart just skipped a beat. It's like, oh my God, we agreed on what he was going to talk about. I do get to the honor of talking about the Citizen of the Year. It's all about service, and as this night has developed, I sort of want to say, add in here, David, that was bold, that was true, and thank you for saying it. And I hope this community comes together and supports not only Nataki, but OSF. So thank you for saying it. You can do that. Go ahead. So, enlightened leadership is service, not position. And that was a quote by Donald McGannon. How many of you raise your hands? No, Donald. Oh, never mind. Leadership is not about the role we hold in an organization. Rather, it is about the action we choose to take. It is about how we serve. Our honoree epitomizes this philosophy. Even while they held high positions, not only organizationally, but in our respect and esteem as well. I am deeply proud to be asked to make this award on behalf of the Chamber. Normally, we do try our darndest, well, give or take a little bit, to keep the recipient a secret until the very end of our remarks. It may be impossible this time. This is a fairly unique individual we honor tonight. The Citizen of the Year generally recognizes an individual who has given of themselves, usually over many years. Significant time and dedication to the community that can reach into numerous organizations, and that is true of our honoree tonight. The contributions can be of time, talent, or resources, with the purpose of benefiting the greater good in a philanthropic manner. We have a number of past recipients with us, so please stand and wave when I call your name. It's my favorite part. People stand when I talk. You know. The Amigo Club of Ashland, Mina, Kiernan, and Senora Chela. Wait. Just wave. Don't come up here. Just wave. Marie Lang, who could not be here tonight at the last moment. Police Chief Ty O'Meara, who left earlier. Jack Nichols. Alan Drescher, former judge. And he would want me to add current bocce ball champion. Never mind, it's an inside joke. Barbara Allen. The best woman at our wedding, by the way. Bob Rasmussen. Great to see all of you. And thank you for coming. There is no way I can do this award justice in light of our honoree. And I've tried. I've thought about it a lot since I was asked to do this, to find the words that will adequately honor this person. In the time we have here, there isn't enough time to capture all our friend has contributed to this community. I would say this, that beyond the list of things this person has accomplished, numbers of academic degrees, high-end consulting experience, public servant, philosopher, engager-in-chief. All of this and so much more, but deeper still. This person is about kindness and intelligent caring. Through to their very soul, combined with the strong desire to understand and serve this community. I would tell you we came together from different sides of one of those Ashland contentious issues for which we are so famous. But we found a way to put aside our differences of opinion and went to work on things we agreed upon that needed doing. I feel deeply for this person, by the way. And became lifelong friends in the process. If we could just have a bit more of that in our current culture today. I feel deeply, and I am deeply honored to be their friend and to make this award. This is what drives our friend, to find progress across the expanse of differing thought and opinion. There are many, many things that could be listed. This person's fingerprints are all over the heart and soul of this community and will be forever. We will look back on his time as historic. I did say his, didn't I? That leaves out half the group here. So, not just for the Forest Resiliency Project, the raising of the funds, the bunching together of collaborative entities to make it happen, but also the sheer will and determination to make it happen. And I can't even begin to tell you how much work that was and how many people he talked to during this time to make it happen. Simply out of a deep commitment to keep this community safe. I swear he even stalked President Obama. I've heard the story, haven't I? I'm pretty sure you're getting this, right? I mean, a 3-term mayor? Doesn't happen that often. One other time before. An ambassador of Ashland in every way and in many places. Always serving to make things better. Always with a kind word and consideration of other viewpoints. Always pressing for better ground and improving community. That is what Mayor John Stromberg stands for and delivers. And I would be remiss at this moment if I did not thank deeply, and we should recognize the wonderful contribution of Lady Jane Stromberg as well. Together, they are wonderful. They are a wonderful team. Our Citizen of the Year from a grateful community. I present you Mayor John Stromberg. We're supposed to take a picture. Look over here. This guy over here has been around all night long. Would you like to say something? Yeah. Oh, of course.
I will admit that I loved being mayor for 12 years. I was ready to do it for another 4, but Kathy thought really that
Don't push that too much.
Tonya should have a chance, and I thought she should have a chance because I believe somehow in what we're going through, and it's really a struggle, that we have to keep trying to work to bring integrity and intelligence and curiosity to how we can live together and what our government is really about, because most of us, including myself, don't know hardly anything about what it really is. I call it a municipal services co-op, just to try to jog people's minds out of its government and all the bad associations that are with that. So I appreciate this, and I remember that moment when Dennis and I looked at each other and there was sort of a bling, like, oh, we're working for the same thing. And we have been, and I hope we can all find that amongst ourselves. And despite all the discouraging things that go on, and we're good at producing some of that too, I have to admit that I did some of it myself when I was first getting into government, and I had my ideas that I thought I knew what was going on or what needed to be done. And I quickly learned that I didn't understand anything about what was happening. But then, this was where where something good happened, I got curious. How does this work? What does it take for us to overcome various things? Just put your hands behind your back. And anyway, so thank you very much for the recognition, and I think the recognition is really an expression of hope for the future for all of us, and doing it together. And we have, if we can't do it here in Ashland, then it doesn't have a very good chance anywhere else. Thank you.
Thank you, that's wonderful. I'm going to ask Sandra Slattery to come up and present an Honorary Life Member Award.
Thank you all. The Honorary Life Member Award recognizes an individual who's gone above and beyond to help the Ashland Chamber through their personal contributions to the organization and its mission. Former recipients who are here this evening, please stand when I call your name. Cindy Bernard, Jack Nichols, Dennis Slattery, Alan Drescher, John Carnes, May Wynn, Richards, and Bob Rasmussen. Thank you all. The individual we're recognizing this evening moved to Ashland with her husband in 1991, purchased a business, and immediately got involved with the chamber. She was a regular attendee of, greeters, and volunteered for numerous events. I don't think she ever missed a chamber annual dinner or a social function of any kind. As she and her husband both love people and making friends, which they certainly did. Early on, she was an active member of Seroptimist of Ashland, and then got very involved with the local PEO chapter. That commitment lasts to this day and has deeply enriched her life with a huge circle of friends. As time went on, she continued to volunteer and step in at every opportunity to help at chamber events and programs. You could always count on her to do what she said she would do and follow through. Due to this work commitment, she was, of course, asked to chair a committee, and she said yes to chairing the 4th of July committee. Having sold the initial business they purchased, she started her own business, which has grown and become quite successful through the years. Always concerned with health and wellness, it makes sense that this was her chosen field of work and business. If you haven't figured it out yet, our Honorary Life Member of the Year for 2022 is Bunny Lewis.
I miss you guys. You know, this chamber is a family. And the one thing that, when Graham joined the chamber working for them, all of the chamber became my family. I could not have done anything in this last year without them. But greeters, too. Even today at lunch, which Catherine, of course, put together. You know, we were talking about how I listened to Lisa Frank tell somebody who was new there, what this group does is we support each other, and we're there for each other. And I remember telling Dana, I said, I'm not going to be here to be a member of the chamber. She says, oh, I think we can work on that. So anyway, it's late, I know, but thank you all. Thank you for being so there for me and supporting us all these years that we were here. And my grandchildren are just such a blessing for me right now, and so know that that has become what's most important to me right now, though I did volunteer I'm going to be helping with a parade for the Sherwood Robin Hood Festival. So anyway, I love you all, and I will come back as much as I can, but just know that you're always in my heart forever. And thank you.
It's great to see Bunny again. We have one more special recognition, and I'm going to ask Sandra to come back up. And also ask Dina Branson to come up as well. Dina served during probably the most difficult time. Her 2 years covered the COVID years. And as we all know, that means a disruption in the way we do things. And we didn't get an opportunity to properly thank Dina. So tonight we'd like to give her a little something and just express our appreciation.
One of the things the chamber has actually brought to me is, sorry, Bunny, I'm still crying from you, is actually being able to stand up in front of groups and talk. This right here was one of my biggest fears before my first chamber meeting. So chamber has made me grow in so many ways. And it's an honor to have been the president the last couple of years. Thank you.
I'm glad we were able to do that. I want to say something about these name tags, just real briefly. I've been to a lot of conferences, been to a lot of meetings, and this name tag is different from anything that I've seen. And that is because of Jordan Pease, who schooled us on how inferior a traditional name tag is, where they just have one joining point in the middle, and then half the time the name tag is backward, and it's all, you're always looking down to see if it's turned around. And this is it. I don't know why the rest of the world hasn't figured this out. Anyway, thank you all so much. That's the end of our program, and I think we've had a wonderful, wonderful evening. It was great to get back together again and see one another and to meet the people in person that maybe we've been doing Zooms with or talking on the phone. Just a great evening. Thank you so much for coming.